supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
What's up, everybody? Hey, Marie.
Hey. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Oh, man, it is a happy Monday. And we're back with another episode of Millennials Adulting. Yay. We're doing I'm glad you guys are joining us. And I'm glad for the early birds in the room, or at least the people who have a mind to be on time. Thank you for bearing with us as we work through our learning.
Shout out to y'all.
Definitely shout out to y'all. And I'm glad you were here to check out the commercial for FBA Sunday School. Shout out to Yoshimod who made that for us. But look, a lot of y'all are parents, and we do this thing every Sunday where we are teaching a culturally specific classes for your mini and for you. It's not just for the minis, but it's kind of for the minis, but it's family oriented. So, if you're interested, check me out on Sundays. But shameless plug on a channel that I broadcast from. So anywho, how's your last week, Marie, since the last time we've been on?
It's been very eventful, just been out here in rare form. I guess the whole world's been in rare form though, so let's just be honest about that. By the way, you guys, I realized what my Roman Empire is today. And it's politics. So at a certain point, if we get into anything and I just go on a tangent, please stop me or dial it back for me, because apparently I can make everything about politics somehow because it's all fucking it's all connected. And there's that.
No, it is. A lot of this shit that we're dealing with is connected to politics. And this channel won't be that as much as the adults in the room. How can we not pay attention to some conversations? I think that would be
that's the problem.
You said the world's been in rare form. I feel like the world's been in rare form since the eclipse that, I felt like people, the way they were posting about it, they didn't know that eclipses happen as a thing on the earth. Did you see that, or was that just on my timeline?
Besides it being a thing, or then it not being that important, I'm like, well, actually, this particular one won't happen for another 20 years. So it is kind of miraculous to some degree, or just won't be seen for quite some time. I've seen a lot of weird things, whereas, what was it? People were talking about maybe things, doomsday or things coming to an end. I haven't seen something where a woman murdered her significant other and a child and left two in critical condition. And prior to this, she was warning everyone that this was the rapture was coming. But I don't know, the rapture comes, do you kill everyone first or you just wait for it to come? That felt like that was a bit drastic. It's she took it into her own hands. Why? Because what if it don't come? And now you done killed everybody.
And you won't be here to do anything about it. No, you're right. Actually, we touched on that in real time with my homegirl Taisha, and it sucks because of the cult-like following for some of these schools of thought, and then people dive down these rabbit holes. Because yes, we told y'all to dive down rabbit holes, but I don't want you to get stuck there, and I don't want you to feel like you are a person who has to jump off the bridge because everybody's jumping off the bridge. Why can't we have our own thoughts, ask questions, and then maybe seek help if help is needed? That story made me so sad because it seemed like, from what I read and just trying to find out more, people saw that something was wrong and they didn't do anything about it. And then after the fact, it's all, oh, that we saw the sign. If you saw the sign,
So you saw it and you was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do shit. I think the problem is, it's like maybe we're not always taking people serious enough when we should, or something to that effect, or you, because yeah, I think she made lots of posts, so there should have been some concerns, even as like her parent or a sibling or a friend, or even like, let me come pick up your kids.
that was my whole main thought. Because the mom has been very vocal, at least very recently, since the situation happened. And I'm like, damn, the babies didn't have a chance. And but look, here's the catch-22. As an adult, people will say, well, they're an adult, they're gonna live their life, they're gonna do their thing, they're gonna do whatever it is that they're doing. And to an extent, yeah, you're right. But at what point is them living their best life supposed to trump common sense, or just the general heebie-jeebie feeling that you might have had, before the shit went down? I don't know. I don't know where the line is drawn there, because I feel like my babies are gonna be my babies as long as I'm here. So no matter how old they are, still my babies. And then their babies would be my babies.
Yeah, I don't. But I guess too, it's like, I think mental health plays a role in that too, because there has to be something more going on than what meets the eyes, because I think that would be the only way you could justify or make it somewhat make sense. Like, you have to be delusional in a negative way, because delusion has some value depending on what it is. In this case, it is not. But like, there was some type of mental health something going on. And maybe there was some weird affliction shit. I don't know. I would think too, when someone dabbles in certain things, depending on who they are, how they are, you don't know what kind of forces.
Mm-hmm.
And just like it's like, if there's other forces, believe me, there's other forces.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like, humans not being fucking decent, is like happening a lot,
What a segue. Let's go there. We talked about delusion. Can you see my screen yet?
Yes.
That's a dangerous thing for Iran to have done. And I think the whole world can see all these countries that have somehow wondered, well, what is the true nature of Iran? It's there in black and white.
What would Britain do if a hostile nation flattened one of our consulates?
Well, we would take the very strong action.
And Iran would say that that's what they did?
Well, what they did, as I said, was a massive attack.
So they were right to respond, but they overreacted, is what you're saying?
What I'm saying, that the attack they carried out was on a very large scale, much bigger than people
accepted.
They have a
right to respond?
Well, countries have a right to respond when they feel they've suffered an aggression. Of course they do. But look at the scale of that response. Had those weapons not been shot down,
respond, but they just overreacted.
There could have been thousands of casualties, including civilian casualties. I think that's a really important point to take into account. A reckless and
delusional. Did y'all hear what I heard? Because it sounded like he said, no, you can't do anything, but if it happened to us, we absolutely would do something.
Because we're white. We're a Western nation, and we can do whatever we want to anybody that we want to. Because in that same logic, like, even to the fact that, like, even Jordan played a part in, I guess, the prevention of these, because they have the dome, was like Jordan, Britain, the United States. So everyone jumped in to save the dome in Israel from these missiles being launched at them. And Palestine is literally carpet bombed every fucking day. And not one of these nations, I'm going to intercede these fucking bombs. Matter of fact, they supply them instead. In the killing civilians, not so. Even too, when Iran did respond to Israel's attack on them, when it was like a 2-week thing, like 2 weeks of before they did anything. And then they actually kept it all under the UN guidelines and rules. They made sure they actually hit specific like military base related targets, etc. That was their objection, or that was their goal. And so I mean, really, to me, it sounds like that we're willing to go into like World War III instead of not killing Palestinians. Like, you know what? Like, that's too fucking easy. Just stop killing them. Let's just have an all-out war, because that's just, it's too much. Like, you're asking too much. You're asking for civility.
It's interesting. Racism, white supremacy is a global sport, and I find that a lot of times people will use the fact that Black people in America have this unique relationship with fighting back, that they will seek to flock to this area of the world because they feel like stronger together. And then we've got an influx of different people, not the people you were just talking about. I'm talking just people across the world who are like, whoa, we can go be over there and kind of benefit from these people who've been fighting back this whole time. Now, in real time, Black people all over the world are being affected by this plague. This, I don't want to call it, this disease of racism, white supremacy. Yeah. And I think that America having their hands in all of these little pots, it's messy, but it's messy on purpose. It's messy on purpose because if we're focused on everywhere else, then we never have to focus on here. And if we fuck up everywhere else, then, well, now everywhere else is going to expect us to clean up the mess that we made before we focus on here. I'm very much convinced that this attention to any and everywhere else is because they don't want to pay reparations. I mean, I'm firm on that line. And until any of the people in power make sense with regards to, like Black people, I'm always going to feel like they're purposely ignoring us, starting fires on purpose to say, oh no, there's a fire over here, we got to put this out first. And it's like, well, damn, did you start the fire? Okay, well, can you stop starting fires? Okay, well, damn, can you just stay home? If you can't go be nice, can you just stay here? And then, damn, you're not nice to us here. I don't know, Marie. I feel very conflicted inside that circle.
I feel like it's, at the end of the day, imperialism is all connected. So I feel like that's why liberation on a grand scale is important. But even too, if you even think about Congo, the minerals that are mined in Congo are used for the bombs and explosives that they drop in Palestine. Everything is connected. I feel like now I'm becoming like a conspiracy theorist, but like this shit is true. Like, so yes, it's actually happening that way. They're all fucking terrible. Whatever you think it is, it's 10 times worse.
Right.
It was even so disgusting today that I seen Kenya come out and their president or whoever, prime minister or whatever, whoever, he's like, he's condemning Iran and the decision that, their decision to attack Israel, and it's actually destabilizing the Middle. So you mean Iran is destabilizing the Middle East? Like, Israel attacked Lebanon. They hit the Iran embassy in Syria. They did some shit to the Yemen. And never mind that Israel just be everywhere. They be training military police. They be training police officers in America. That's even where, so that speaking, since it's a month from now, it will be the anniversary of George Floyd's death. The tactic they used where they knelt on his neck, that was actually taught. That was like a tactic used by Israeli military. They train our police officers. Again, their hand is like, and everything, and they actually have a really anti-Black sentiment, period. It's actually documented. And again, this is like where we're getting our our police additional militarized training is coming from them. We go to them for like the expert advice.
What are the police for again? No, it's not corralling the blacks.
Yeah, besides racketeering, they can, and again, I'm sure that there's some that actually prevent crimes and things like that. There's some that maybe are actually really out there serving and protecting, or I guess serving something, I don't know, serving of unjust laws, I don't know, enforcing unjust laws, be a variety of things. Like what the fuck do they do? And again, they're there. And I'm assuming like I'm assuming some peacekeeping from time to time. But overall, I really think it's a way to kind of just keep their foot on their neck, on the neck of the people. You know what I mean? We see so many legislation passing that's really dumbing down Americans, and then simultaneously kind of keeping them in, like, even when we see that gap of the wealthy in the middle class, like we keep seeing getting bigger and bigger. And the poorer you are, the easier you are to manipulate. I can have you in this shitty job. I can put you in this prison and have you go work for Target, because I'm not going to give your ass a job when you get out of prison, but I will have your ass employed the whole time you there. The whole time.
That part.
I'll have you working the same fields that your grandma did. Your great granny did a long time ago, but because you committed a crime. So now I'm going to use you as slave labor, just making up more reasons. And so even too, that I think that having the police, like even something recently, there's a proposition in Dallas that's supposed to be, it's on the docket to vote for May 4th. And it is to get $50 million bond to build a militarized training facility for police officers on the UNT campus, which is also in a predominantly brown and black neighborhood. It's almost it's kind of like similar to like when you go into a country you might have, conquered per se, or you were at war with, and then you built out a base. And we seem to legislate more things that are related to individuals these days than actual entities and organizations. So I feel like it all kind of aligns. And you guys, I did it. Sorry. We went down the rabbit hole. My bad.
No, look, the stuff is connected. And as such, I think that it's going to be important for us to have these conversations, because we're not the only ones having these thoughts. We're not the only ones who see the inconsistencies, but we are expected to ignore them. And then if you ignore them, then what does life look like? I mean, people will say ignorance is bliss. And I mean, I feel them being ignorant can be a blissful
it's
state.
Dangerous. Actually, it's very, very fucking dangerous. But it can be blissful in the time being. I'm like, imagine you not knowing you're going to a death chamber, you're about to be poisoned, and all those moments leading up. I mean, like, do you want to know you're about to die? Or, would it be a little more calming if it just happened and what they say, they didn't suffer much.
Yikes. Yeah, don't
my dark humor today. It looks like a ball of like light. Enjoy.
You're so funny. Shout out to the chat. Thank y'all for participating. To wanting, I'm probably saying that really wrong, but yeah, it's on purpose. It's a system. I'm glad you agree. Amir says that we should check out the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan past Savior Day with regards to the war in the Middle East. I'll say that I think that the minister has wonderful thoughts and he can move a crowd. And I hope that, when you hear a message like his, you're moved to do. I get so tired of people who listen to someone who sounds really good and then they don't do anything. They'll go every time it's time to go. They'll give the money that they're supposed to give when it's time to give, but then, actions.
That's ironic. And I say that to say that this weekend, like Amanda Seales had like a, not necessarily a trivia, but she did this thing where it's kind of like a forum. And we were talking about, I think she made something about like, are you a revolutionary or are you a reformist? Like, are you and kind of, and that goes back to how are you going to move, or how are you going to act? What's going to be your contribution? How will you contribute? Or are you just kind of going to sit back and I guess wait for your time to come, kind of, you know, just on the wheel of life. Well,
it's ironic coming from her, but I'll let her have her moment. You know, I think that entertainers, stars, we wanted to talk about the stars, and people give special attention to entertainers, singers, rappers, athletes, or whatever. And I think it's because intrinsically, internally, we have a connection to outer space, you know, and then from there, people know that we have connections like that. So then they'll use words across environments. You know, the stars are now stars, they're people. And then, you know, instead of you following the stars, you're following people's lives, or, you know, what they're doing, what they say is important, how they say you should feel. But no, I like what you said, that she said it was a poll, or it was just like an open-ended post question.
Honestly, it wasn't a post. We all actually were in a room together yesterday. It was a group of us. It was more like we were kind of more talking amongst each other, and I felt like more was like a moderator, like encouraged, like, well, what can we do?
Okay. Okay, no, that's a good question though. Yeah, because I mean, you have to ask yourself, why do you even care about the information? Because really, if you're not going to do anything with it, then I don't know that anybody wants to just be feeling bad. I've seen countless stories of children from both sides, Iran and Israel, who don't want this going on. They don't want the war. They don't want any of the fighting. You know, fuck the sides. That just stop it. Just stop all of it. You know, so if the babies get it, then where is the disconnect coming? Well, the disconnect's coming because, like we talked about earlier, America's got their grimy little hands in all these little pots because they like stirring the pot everywhere else. That's like somebody whose house is messy, but then they come over your house and tell you you need to clean up, or they're swiping stuff and saying, oh, there's dust here. And it's like, bitch, you haven't done any laundry in a month, or shit, you
I
do
think
you do dishes?
clothes on the left-hand side of your bed that you just keep ignoring.
Throw it, just move it over to the side.
You know, and here's the thing with that, like, you know, kind of just like how white supremacy reigns supreme. I feel like imperialism is kind of consistent with that. So even if the youth can recognize something isn't right, some things become inherent at a certain point. Also, most people that have power don't want to give their power up. Let's be honest, you have to take power. You can't just, hey, do you want to please share some of that? That's not how it works.
Please,
no one power. Your oppressor is not like, you know what? I'm going to get my foot off your throat. I mean, in essence, what we've even seen though is our oppressor. I think it was maybe it's Malcolm X quote where he's like, you stick a knife in a man's back. What is it? 7 inches, pull it out 3, and say we're making progress.
Right.
But you still got this knife in my back.
Right.
And that being said, too, I think there's something that is being missed as well. As you know, with the U.S., it's not even just them being nosy. Their hand is in it, like they're in it, like they're in it. They're benefiting from it. I've almost feel to some degree that, sorry guys, my MacBook does that. I almost feel like to some degree too that Zionists are a pawn. I'm using you to colonize and destabilize the Middle East. It's giving me access to all these resources, all this goddamn oil over here, all the stuff you're giving. It's like, it's very centralized. So I'm going to use this group of people, convince them that they're only safe right here, which honestly, that actually would be anti-Semitic to say that you should be safe any fucking where you go. Everyone should feel safe anywhere they go, because of my religion should not make me feel, well, if I live in America, it's going to be unsafe. That's bullshit. That's a fucking scam.
It is. It's a scam because America's supposed to be the land of the free. Nothing's free here. And then shit, it's even more expensive than it used to be.
And it's going to cost you in so many other ways too. It's not, because I think that too, what we're getting to a point of, some of it's almost slavery. I think even this whole like legislating women's bodies, it's more or less the birth rate is down. Who the fuck is going to work for us? Because capitalism is a part of it is about it's being upheld by a large number of people. And if you motherfuckers got all responsible and decided kids were expensive and all this shit, like who's going to work for us? You know, and so we're going to make these rules in the poorest fucking states as possible too, because they're easier to subjugate. Poor people are easier to marginalize. They have less power. So I need you guys to keep having your fucking kids, you idiots, so you can continue to boost me. How would I stay in the 1%? Like who the fuck, like who am I going to use?
That's true. Having a permanent underclass is why capitalism works. So in the event that the government says, all right, blacks, we're going to stop being mean, we're going to pay up because, you know, it's just the right thing to do. That actually wouldn't work, because it would be forcing another group into that permanent underclass. Like you just said, Marie Power is taken. Like, it's not going to be a comfortable scenario when Black people decide to stop getting shitted on here. Essentially, that's everywhere. And Israel is so funny because it's not even supposed to be there. Not really. And then you think about why the power struggle, and it's a black and white issue all over again. So the Black people are extra oppressed because all the white people across the world have decided that they're going to play on one side of things, but then they have infighting. So you've got Iran. I watched the UN address from a couple of days ago, and it's like the president of Israel is talking to the guy from Iran. Don't get me quoting his name. And it's just, you know, if you were looking at it, it's like, okay, these two white people. Okay, but they don't want you to classify them as white. No, they want to be culturally identified, but then they don't want to share it. I want to say that if America's going to have their hands in everybody's pots, then it would be a forced making people share. Like, I think that would be their role, not supplying both sides. I'm going to give you money to pay for the destruction that I gave them the bombs to destroy with. But it would be, you know, these resources that are over here. Clearly there's a power play going on and we don't want you to nuke each other. So let's just make you play nice. Like teachers do at recess, right?
You know, that's funny you say that, because it reminds me of like when they sold us on the Gulf War, the original one, when they first went into Iraq, and the way it was positioned to a lot of Americans and even youth was that, you know, they have this oil. Like I remember being in school, and it was kind of like this oil, and somehow we were convinced that they should share the oil. Now, in hindsight, one, Israel was behind pushing America into that war. In addition to that, it was a lot of information that wasn't verified and actually turned out to be a lie after the fact. And even too, what I found is that even using babies, like for some reason, like dead babies is like that gets people, even if it's a lie, like no one even questions. It's, you know, and there was a story like that. And it was actually, I think at the time, the ambassador's daughter, of Iran, told the story, and it kind of really, it moved everyone. And we have to go into Iraq. And again, another fucking play on just money, resources, etc. And then the idea again, you know, Israel, right? Izzy right there, like encouraging, pushing it. AIPAC right there. I guess maybe even too, you keep hearing that ironclad. I think that's like the sign of like, hey, AIPAC, like we're doing what you told us to say. We're saying the thing. We're all saying the thing. We're all in support of the thing. It's just, I don't know. I really found it. I think, and then it also goes back to even just information, like the way the information is being disseminated, the incorrect information, the compromised journalism. Like, it's just like, damn, like the whole system is corrupt and broken. Like, so you can't trust shit. You don't, you know, the people that you're reporting on actually own the media. And then I guess, and then if there is a news source that's going against them, do you know that Al Jazeera was like accused of actually like being a part of Hamas or aiding Hamas? And I guess the only thing would be actually maybe disseminating out, accurate information, like, because that would be aiding. They were like, oh, sounds like a freedom fighter to me. Imagine like someone came into my country from another country, subjugated me for years, murdered, massacred, drove us out. And like, we was just kind of like, we don't want to be in this open air concentration camp for too much longer. Let's rise up. And then how easily too that was like allowed to happen. They're like, they were on parachutes. They were riding camels when they came in. So you mean to tell me the most like what was the most advanced military was duped by some motherfuckers in parachutes on a camel? Like, you get the fuck out of here. Like, I was born on a day, but it was not yesterday. There's so much like, yeah, I just can't.
No, that's real. People expect us to, just ignore common sense and then not ask questions. And I'm never going to be a person that doesn't ask questions. Maybe
that's why getting rid of CRT is so important, because one, I don't need you having like access to history or this information. So critical race theory, like we can't, no more fucking history class. Like this is it, In fact, we need to stop talking about the Constitution, because we're so anti-protest, but we're so pro-Constitution, yet it's in the Constitution that Americans have the right to protest. So it might be fucking inconvenient to you, but people dying is probably a lot more. It's kind of like, even reminds me of when people be sick of Black people talking about racism. Like, I'm so sick of it. Imagine how fucking sick of it is the person experiencing it is. Like, you're fucking tired too. So perhaps if we would just stop doing it, they wouldn't have to fucking talk about it. Or maybe if we acknowledge it. Because not talking about it does not make it go away. You not seeing my color doesn't make me any less Black. Or it doesn't change the fact that this is systemic. That there's a system, it's built a certain way. And if we don't address it or acknowledge it or dismantle it, it's going to continue to be that way. And it doesn't matter if I come here all hunky-dory. Oh, I love everyone. Kumbaya. Equity for everyone. Equality for everyone. We're all great. But yeah, there's this 90-year-old motherfucker that really hates niggers. And he's in office. And in fact, he doesn't even want to give out affordable health care, universal health care, because it might actually help Black folks. And we've under this notion that they're not very healthy people. And that would be expensive. No different than like, well, we can't really give them reparations because, well, that would bankrupt our economy. Never mind the fact that there's so many fucking companies that are in existence right now. Even Tiffany & Co., they got their start from money that they gained from cotton fields. Mm-hmm. There's insurance colleges, there's so many businesses that are active, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and the list could fucking go on, JP Morgan. These companies all somehow benefited, touched slavery in some way, shape, or form, not including probably participated in discriminatory lending practices, discriminatory hiring practices, because it's not just about slavery. Reparations isn't about, because my great-great-grandfather was a slave. No, it's that every fucking corner we have tried to get further and you've done something to dismantle our progress, whether it's going down to burn or bomb a fucking community because, you thought because some white woman lied, she fed you a fucking lie, but really you were jealous. Maybe because I might have had actual running water and real plumbing, and you don't like that, but that comes across like as uppity Negroes. But at the end of the day, people aren't just asking for reparations because of slavery. It's because of everything else. It's because of Jim Crow. It's because of segregation. It's because
we're still going on right now. Absolutely. Marie is all the way in her bag, and I love it. Because y'all tell me that I need to, move on. I need to do something, talk about something else. It's all connected, and as such, we're gonna bring the connection some more. Let's jump down another rabbit hole and talk about. Can you see?
Ooh. Red flags. Like today it feels like a hashtag and red flags kind of day.
That's right. Shout out to the buddy Frank and for this post. Stop blaming your failed relationship on zodiac signs. zodiac signs. Two mature
You know,
people who want things to work will make sure it works. Doesn't matter what their sign is. Maturity and respect are compatible. And man, I, when I saw this post, I knew I wanted to talk about it one day, and I'm glad I saved it because it's from a little while ago. But stars, the zodiac, we get a bad rap, girls, women. We get a bad rap for wanting to pay attention to things that don't necessarily make sense. We're looking up at the stars, maybe. So maybe we've got goo eyes, or maybe we're just, our heads are in the clouds. I don't know. But today, the rabbit hole that I was down was just a lot of angry men, angry at women who use that zodiac as a scapegoat. Like, I'm a such and such, so you knew that I was gonna XYZ. And okay, so I'm a Taurus, so you knew I was gonna be stubborn. Okay, I mean, I guess maybe.
I think everything is about context. Like, I don't believe that shit. But if they're a Gemini, whatever the fuck they said they did that. Like, I don't like, you can't tell me, like, I know for a fact that they did it. They are who everyone says they are. Like, there's now the rest of them, like, not so much, but I don't know. I think, like, but it's like, it's interesting that men would be so, I think that's kind of like when sometimes you see people be frustrated with the idea that, oh, women, their intuition. Don't date women that are into that shit.
There you go.
I'm gone. Like,
Simple.
is that so? When she asks you for your date of birth and your birth time, that is it. It's a wrap. Like, nah, this not the bitch for me. Like, this.
That part.
That's all. We're done here. That's it. That was a quick, you know. Like, when she say, "When's your birthday?" Do you want to know? Are you asking my zodiac sign? Or are you asking, like, for my actual birthday?
Yeah, see, I would see. I'm always thinking that they want to know my zodiac, like, because guys do. I know I just said that the guys that I was looking at, they were all very angry, but in real time, in my DMs, y'all know who you are. Y'all will ask the same types of questions, like, you know, trying to figure out my natal chart or our natal chart, or maybe just trying to float like you can talk like that, or float like you've got those interests, but I find that it's going to be a little bit more honest for everybody involved. If you like that type of chick, then, you know, go do that. Or if you don't like that type of chick, then maybe don't do that. But people trying to change people, that's a conversation, because I will not be moved. Damn it. Like, no, okay. I can't
possibly, and I'm like, I don't know. I think that's the thing, like, right? People just are who they are. And that doesn't mean that they're not changing, they're not growing. Because at the end of the day, I think, like, you love someone where they are, but you love them enough not to leave them that way. But even when I say not leave them that way, I think I made a post one day where it's like, you know, you can support me in whatever I'm working on, but by no means are you going to be picking out things for me to work on. Okay. And, you know, unless, and now we might have some shared goals that we've discussed, and we've made a decision that we want to work on this or work towards this. And that, yes, but you're not going picking shit. You're not my daddy or my teacher or whatever. And I do feel like, and I say that too, because I've found there are, like, so there's one thing to be an alpha male, and there's another thing to try to master a woman. Be her master.
Master a woman.
And when I say master, I'm not saying, oh yes, I want to know her or her insight, like insights to her, you know,
like sire.
I'm like saying that you want to control.
Yeah. Okay.
Dominate.
But Marie, inside of that, isn't it kind of true? Like, okay, fellas, y'all are not gonna like that I said this. I feel, my personal thoughts. I'm just Steve, so feel how you want. I feel like women are smarter than men, but we're not as smart as we think we are. So inside of that, if you picked him, that's on you because you did it, right? But then in the same conversation, men will say that they chose us. So then it's like, well, if you chose to stay, so if we're choosing to stay, or if we're picking them at some point, isn't it, aren't we acquiescing to said leadership, maybe not in a master role, but just in a
There's a difference in someone trying to master you and someone guiding you.
So a
'Cause I think
guy
it goes
versus
back to even the drill sergeant thing we talked about.
the drill sergeant. Let's go
And
on.
that's the drill sergeant. Like, sir, look here. I'm a grown up. I'm a grown up. We're not going to do that. I think that, you know, there's a difference. Even too, there's always ownership. There's ownership in shit that's not even your fault, because that sometimes is the best way to overcome adversity. That's how so many people that have been kept down have allowed themselves to propel up. There's, you know, even like the idea of the laws of attraction, right? So even when situations aren't necessarily my fault, if I can find things that I can do to say avoid it, what I could have done differently, or maybe how I could have even handled said situation different, it does allow me to elevate and catapult out of that situation. It can allow me to use something that's bad as a catalyst, right? So we can all, like, you can definitely be a victim, but it's like, sometimes it's also a choice. So am I going to continue to, okay, yeah, so this man turned out to be a piece of shit, but what I learned? What did I learn from that? Or even too, is there a pattern? Like, am I keeping a certain type of person? Am I picking emotionally unavailable people? Because you said what?
I was saying, no, that piece of shit pattern that you might be
Absolutely. And some of that has to do, and then I think it still goes back to self, right? So if I'm exhibiting a pattern, a lot of adult drama comes from childhood trauma, right?
Ooh.
So that being said, you almost sometimes have to sit back. When you see a pattern, you got to reverse engineer. Okay, so where did I first see this shit at? A lot of times you might have first seen that shit in your household as a kid growing up. It might not even been you. Might have been some shit your mom went through. Might have been. And then sometimes it can be the opposite. Well, I seen this, so I wasn't going to do. I went this whole other way.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see that and still it normalizes dysfunction and then continue to live that out. Or even, you know, there's that thing of, for me, I didn't grow up in a household I was very much supported. My parents probably, I'm going to say they probably grew up in a household where they didn't always feel supported. Nothing they did was enough. You know what I mean? So sometimes I'd find myself in relationships. So I have to work really hard to prove myself. And then I'll be honest with you. Sometimes once I won them over, it's like, okay, I'm done here. I don't even want this. In fact, I didn't even know I didn't want this. I just knew that you didn't think I was enough. And, you know, I wanted to prove to you that I was enough. And, oh, now I am. Like, you're actually not even that great. I don't even know why I worked so hard to jump through these hoops to be this person to you. And you're not, you're mid-grade. Like, you're kind of, like, if I had known, like, if I really, because why am I putting like 1,000% into somebody not giving me 100%? Because then, like, too, I think, like, when we're out here dating, we need to bring like our 100%. I need to know what your shit look like. Oh, this is you.
Like, Marie, I saw the, of course, you've seen those reels, and it was like, I'm the child of a narcissist parent. Of course and then the last 4 things you just said, God damn it. And then these grown babies, you know, they're out here overcompensating, working extra fucking hard, you know, trying to people please, and not even for any.
But, you know, it worked in their career.
Oh yeah, of course, burning out
in America. So it's like, why the fuck is they not working with this nigga? Like, I'm doing all the things. I checked this box. I did this. I did A, B, C. Why is he not? Well, let me keep working on him, because and not realize the relationship is 2 people. It's 2 people working on it, not you trying to figure out a way to get him to. Whatever a man wants to do, he's gonna fucking do. Period. And he doesn't have to be coerced, manipulated, begged.
Yeah.
He does it because he wants to do it. And get you someone that wants to do it. You ain't got to. There's somebody. And the funny part is, you know, we can sit here, you know, people always worry about the lost sheep, right? A lot of times there's people that want to do all them things. You're just not paying attention to them. Because again, too, you might be fucked up. And so you're focused on the person that doesn't see you. But why would you waste so much effort and energy on someone that doesn't see you? Like, if you, hey, like, let me ghost their ass too, since they don't see me. You know, this is brought to you by my therapist. Told me she's no longer seeing me every week, which I'm very disappointed. Apparently, she said there's not a lot wrong with me. So there's that. I was so offended. Like, what the fuck do you mean?
Go live your life. Go be outside.
Yeah, and then she like didn't tell me how it go. I'm like, now you sound like a friend. Am I really supposed to be paying you this copay? Like, cause like, yeah, so get out. I'm like, huh, that's crazy. Like, you think I've graduated? Like, that's wow. It wouldn't be ethical for me to continue to see you every week. It's not necessary. I thought it was. Didn't I just say I was gonna beat somebody up?
Now you called her like your homegirl at that point. It was like,
honestly, it kind of. She actually initially thought she was a terrible therapist. I did too. Then I was like, it might be not. Because here's the funny part about therapy is, even though it's a place for you to be vulnerable, until you're comfortable, you're not vulnerable. So you could be in that space, and even though you're supposed to be like, oh, let me share you, let me spill all this stuff, you can still get in there and act like everything is good. You can still get in there and void like the real issue and just kind of like, so even some people can go to therapy for years and it might take them like a year or so. I knew someone that like the therapist would do like a test. And so the first test actually was a higher score than the second one, but they've been seeing them. But the catch was now the person was like actually spilling their real shit. Before they were, we all too are taught to kind of make sure everything, make it look right. Like we're to pretend like everything's okay. We're gonna act like everything is fine, and even though I'm paying this fucking person my hard-earned money, I'm still gonna act like everything is fine because bitch, I'm not damaged.
I know. I am paying you to help with said damage that I don't want to admit that I have. Yeah, no, therapy can take a long time for some people who are not comfortable getting uncomfortable. I don't have that problem, not really, because I like talking to you guys, right? I love making us collectively uncomfortable, and then I don't have to do it by myself. No.
I guess now we're all fucked up. I can relate to what you're saying. I can relate. This is kind of scary. Did you call me?
Love you. Speaking about tongue-tied. Speaking about shit that's kind of scary, right? What we talked about earlier, these outages. Let me
Oh yes. How about I feel like I often feel like there are like real cyber attacks and that they're not talked about because they don't want to like scare people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, because even one time there was like, even in Dallas, we kept intermittently having like total internet outage to the point you couldn't get gas, you couldn't go to the ATM, you couldn't blah, 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 because all these things are powered by the internet. Yeah.
So this is just real time. These are the outages today, right now. And I'm just like, whoa, okay. Is this normal or is something going on? And like you said, it maybe cyber attacks, because that is the age that we're in right now.
The new normal. Like
right, the new normal is your bank card might not work, and the lights might go out because of cyber terrorism.
The irony is that's always been real funny to me about when we look at digital currency. Is I always wondered, like, well, if we ever like, if I were to like intellectually, we attack nations now intellectually, cyber related, we use technology, right? So I would think if anything, it would black out. So then if everything's blacked out, what the fuck do we do with our digital currency? How would that would that work?
As I think it would go away. I mean, I think in a blackout, and maybe we need to have this conversation in the future, fire drills, because y'all did those in school, and then in real time, y'all don't know what the fuck to do with these damn smoke detectors that I hear in the backgrounds of calls sometimes, or just in general, in the event of an emergency.
We don't do fire drills anymore. Remember, we do like the terrorists, like a gunman's gonna come into.
And those drills are scary too, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not anti-gun, so let me be clear, but I do believe in common sense gun laws. I am a gun owner, but I believe in common sense gun laws. But that being said, some fucking weirdo every week or so going into some fucking place and shooting up is kind of it is a little disturbing. And to think that that's something that like they do drills like that for children, because it is like it's become the new norm, is actually kind of fucking like, it's very telling. It's actually like, and it goes back to very telling of our nation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why
what do you care about? Right. No, where are our dollars going? That's I love how you brought it here right before we go before we go. April, if you're familiar with me, then you know. If you're not familiar with me, we did this thing, Black Media Appreciation. I'm Black, Marie's Black. We say that well, I don't know if Marie says it. She's gonna say it now. Black Media Matters. Where you get your news, the news you can use in real time. I think that shit matters. And as such, for the month of April, we've been trying to just highlight different channels that do that. So before we went any further, I want to give special shout out to Professor Black Truth, because this Israel thing that you keep talking about, I don't listen to shit like that. I don't. And I try to go to like other news outlets because I know that what's here is not it. But then you'll fall down different rabbit holes. And it's like, well, damn, is it Australia who's got it? Is it Russia who's got it? Is this dub accurate? Do you ever have that thought? Like, they're translating, and is
So
that
I'll say
real?
something. Oh, absolutely. Because even too recently, that Russian and like revealing that Jesus was back, that is not what the fuck. I looked it up. And even too, I've known for years that everyone knows the Vatican has images of Christ and he's black.
Right.
Or even he could be Middle Eastern, he's brown. We do know that part, you know.
No,
And
he's
the
not
image
white with blue eyes.
Yeah, it's not Cesar Borgia, you know, that we do know, right? That being said, no, I always, so anything I hear, even like, you know, something funny, I asked my daughter what something meant today because that's just her personality type. So I know she said this, you know. And even after I asked her, which I don't know why I didn't look it up first, but I asked her, she told me the answer, then I looked it up. Anything I see, read, I go do research. You know, I think it was like when I found out Israel's biggest export was diamonds. I'm like, are there any fucking diamonds? Right. There's not. This is valid. Anything I see here, I go look it up. I do the research. I may fall into a rabbit hole. I may not. But I'm very cautionary. And then also too, I don't just get my news from, like, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm signed up as a Republican and a Democrat. I just want to know what the fuck they saying. I don't trust everything or anyone. I'm going to go do my own homework, no matter what I see, what I read. I'm going to do my own research. If I hear something about, like, you know, I never knew that maybe Pearl Harbor didn't happen like they said. And matter of fact, all it took was my cousin made a comment like, oh yeah, and like I heard about Pearl Harbor. And really, he made that comment on a post when I like learned about how the Iraq was like some bullshit and like the fucking millions of people that they killed, and just, it's just tragic. But that being said, I went to go, like all he had to do was mention it. Someone was like, so then I started pulling up shit. I pull up declassified file. So y'all was threatening Japan.
Not you turning into a whole Nancy Drew.
Like, why y'all didn't tell me that? You know, I even went to school. I lived in Pearl Harbor. My mother's retired Navy. Like, so, you know, this whole like story that, like, it's been fucking lying to me my whole life. And maybe that's how I feel. Maybe that's why I'm so angry, because it's like you realize everything that you've been told, everything that you've been positioned to think or believe, like most of it has been a fucking lie. And then even coming from a military family and realizing that my family, like, they can say what the fuck they want. It was to get out of poverty. It wasn't because they're, oh yes, I just love them. No, it's to get out of poverty. It's the quickest way for any American, whether you're coming from a small town, wherever, it's a great way to get out of poverty. Give them 4 years, get out of poverty. There's a lot of benefits, etc. But that being said, they were lied to too. You know, it's like I've had conversations where it's like you've been misled, or even too, there's so many veterans. I posted something today on my page where this man went the fuck off as a veteran because he realized like all the shit they did. There were so many suicides by Americans in Iraq just because they were like, we don't have any fucking business being here. You know, we never have any fucking business being in so many places, whether it's Vietnam, we don't have any business being there. You know, the irony too is like, even I think something was brought up recently, like even like, you know, there are certain power, like each country has a power dynamic, like even within the UN, when it's like Russia, China, this, that, you know, there's no African nation.
Of course not.
Right. But like, first of all, Africa is actually the largest fucking continent. You can fit other continents in that continent. But because these westernized countries And and I'm not even gonna say China's Western because they're not, but at the end of the day, they do have their finger, they do have their hand. Russia does too. Everyone is raping Africa. Everyone is digging into Africa, or even using Africa as hey, I fucked up my own continent. Let me move over here. No different than it's so weird that I fucked up my planet. Let me go to another planet. If you got money to go fix another planet, you got money to fix the fucking planet you fucked up, bitch. Hello.
Math, y'all.
Humans are fucking weirdos. You don't it's almost like the easiest thing is not this common sense choice. No, actually, I would like to go about it the hardest fucking way possible. Because that's what the fuck I enjoy doing is the hardest way possible. The decision that makes the least fucking sense. It's almost like, are you a 5-year-old? Fucking 5-year-old? What would make you do it like that?
No, they said they got a hard on for the wrong thing, right? No, they jumped in it head first, and they're Tauruses. They're stubborn. You thought you were gonna be able to tell them something? No.
But I feel like the child that's been lied to, not from my family. Now I found out and I'm angry at everyone. So now I'm the black sheep and I'm calling everything out. Oh yeah, no, that's wrong. You lie. It's like I used to be that person. So it's not Thanksgiving, it's rape pillage day. This is not a day that they're like, if you don't shut the fuck up.
And eat this turkey. No, that's real though. Our collective wokeness, it's hitting on all cylinders. And I like the black sheep aspect of it all, because really it shows that most people are still gonna do what other people are doing as long as there are other people doing it already. Right now, I think our story is millennials.
Everyone's horrible.
No, not that. Everyone's questioning, and
yeah.
Everyone is seeking out the truth, their truth, my truth. They're trying to figure it out because, like you, we were all lied to about a lot of shit.
Yeah, because everything's horrible. Now you're just well, wait a minute, let me go. Even I will say this as a parent, when my kids would come home with information, it's like, well, Thomas Edison, didn't. No, the fuck he didn't. Right. He did not create the technology to make the light bulb. And you're going to go back and tell your fucking teacher this, which they would get extra credit for that. Or even too, actually, no, we're terrible fucking people and we took their land. They're positioning this really the wrong way. It's, the funny part is I guess it's like being a captive in a powerful nation. You are led to believe that we're the good guys all the time, every time. And the thing about it is, no one gets this kind of fucking power doing the right thing. Just be honest. It's a get down, lay down. It's how dirty can we get before they can see the dirt on us? What can we do to do these terrible things, but kind of hide it a little bit? Not a lot, just a little bit. And it's a constant thing, whether it's testing nuclear weapons and fucking killing masses of
testing nuclear weapons, not on each other, me, America, and anybody else, but no, making them do it so that we can, see what all happens.
That, or even, it's I learned that one of the first nuclear weapons went off. It was in somewhere in New Mexico, and that the backlash of it, all the people that were there or out that day or whatever, died within 10, 15 years. There was crops. There was all this fucking shit. First of all, the whites are slightly destructive. Let's just be call it what it is. They're very destructive. And it's not, it's just a coincidence that they're white because they're the ones with the power and majority of the wealth. They own the largest percentage of it, right? So just naturally, it happens to be them. I don't know if it's innate, and not to say that other human beings of a different races aren't fucked up too, because that does exist. We've talked about tribalism and so I guess too, but imagine creating even a social construct like race, and then making yourself the master tribe of it all. Everyone else is a minor. How the fuck are we the minority and there's more of us than there are of you? Help me understand that. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Mathing with that shit, Marie. And they're going to make us feel like we've got our tinfoil bonnets, your tinfoil kufi, if you will. Man,
Hold on,
look,
let me put my bronze on.
your crown.
This is going to block the rays of the government.
There, right.
Because what the
Yeah,
idea
everyone
too
in
is
the
that
cell-
you want people that
during
the
the-
people that are telling the truth, they're going to try to convince you that they're crazy or they don't know what they're talking about. And the truth is, like, they don't know. Like, we do know. And that's why they don't want you to feel like they don't know what they're like. They're wrong or this is that, or even sometimes too, it doesn't align with your views. Like if you see America as the greatest, oh my God, I came here. I know people that came here with $2 in their pocket and they rich, but I think the problem is that we assume that just generating wealth or having wealth actually like it means something. It doesn't mean shit if someone can take it away from you. It doesn't mean shit if you're not even in a position to liberate any fucking body. So what you gotta, it's like, but I've improved my
be by yourself. Be rich by yourself.
I've
your own
improved my
island.
position. I don't know about the rest of you motherfuckers. I'm gonna be great. And the thing about it is you're gonna be great until they come to your fucking door and off with your head like we're in the fucking French Revolution. Because guess what? You are great. And I'm not. And at this point, you know, I have nothing else to fucking lose. I have nothing else. I have absolutely nothing else. So that being said, my desperation is going to be my motivation. And the thing is, there's way more people with nothing than people with something. And if those people actually got together, it would be hell to pay. It's like, you know, it's like when the poor eat the rich.
When the poor eat the rich. That might be another topic. Man, tonight we've gone around the world. Always we will do that because we want you to think. We want you to have thoughts. And tonight, man, my head was in the clouds. I wanted to talk about the stars because, well, I just feel like they get a bad rap. And I don't think we look at the stars enough, like the actual stars. So, you know, wherever you are tonight, my homework for class, if this is class, if we can call this class just for this one time, go look at the stars because y'all take this internet shit too seriously.
My favorite is the moon.
The moon, I like the moon too. Real life is way bigger than the shit that we're talking online. But like Marie just said, don't be working your ass off for no gain. And then, damn it, if you worked your ass off and you're up there by yourself, like how lonely.
There's no value in that. There's like, yeah, and not to say that you need to be a martyr. I'm not for that either. But
no, right.
I think I think to some degree that we've actually like lost sight of like what's really important, like peace of mind and quality of life, and understand quality of life actually trickles down. Like it really trickles down. So it will come and impact you in ways that you never expected, whether it's somebody showing up at your door to harm you because you have something they need, a resource, food, something fucking a basic fucking essential that we deny Americans every day. But you know, since you threw your star tidbit in there, whenever people talk about like astrology or they say like the stars and stuff don't count or matter, I always think of the pull of the moon. And if the human body is composed primarily of water and the moon can actually move an entire body of water, and I've watched it, I've gone places where like the moon moved a little bit and that whole tide, like I've been in Puerto Rico and the whole fucking area is flooded and then it pulls back. If the moon can shift and move an entire body of water, an ocean, I think that it does have some type of impact on like the human body.
For sure, it does. It does. Actually, I went into it a little bit with Dr. Winters a couple Wednesdays ago. You can check us out on Reality Check. But man, tonight I really liked our conversation, Marie. I hope next time we talk, maybe we'll have some more people in the studio, in the studio with us to have more conversations. To the people in the chat, thank y'all for joining us. And we'll be live again next week. Good night.